Hello, hello, hello. Let's see who we get in here. I see people in the chat. I'm waiting to see the count on screen to know that you all can see me and hear me. Say hi in the comments. Let me know what you're working on and where you're streaming from, so we can all say hi. I'm sorry for the very short notice I gave you. I feel like this is probably going to be a really quiet, small stream, just a handful of us. But that's all good. So I see some people popping up. Anne's here working on Contemporary Romance Mystery. Charmed Venus is watching from Utah. Hello, my neighbor to the north. Brigitte is streaming from Hanover, Germany, working on my nonfiction. That's so much fun. Hello, everyone. Hello. We've got Miss Taylor Ann Wright in the chat as well. And Evelyn writes, so excited to see everyone. Everyone knows it's Lindy. Allegorical fiction. Ooh, that sounds intense. Autumn Moonlight, working on my thriller romance. And Charmed Venus working on fantasy romance about necromancy, still deep in dev edits, but extremely productive. That's awesome. That's what we want to hear. Avi. Yes, like and subscribe. I'm an award-winning mentor. I won a mentorship award at work. So that was very exciting. That was a lovely way to end the semester. Also, spoiler for 2 vlogs from now, I got a promotion. So I won an award and I got a promotion all right as summer break is starting. Like, my brain doesn't even know what it's doing. Juanita's Creative Corner watching from St. Louis. 20 minutes left for lunch. Hi, Jess. Thank you. I'm honestly so excited. Loving these pop-up sessions. Yeah, they're probably going to continue being pop-up sessions. Every time I think, I'm going to sit down and like actually schedule these out, it never works out. And like, I wanted to go live about an hour ago, and this morning has just been nuts. So yeah. And thank you, everyone. The promotion and the award are just, it's wonderful. I'm so excited. So yeah, you'll see kind of behind the scenes of the day I found out about the promotion on Wednesday's vlog. So yeah, it's very, very exciting. Working on my YA food adventure. That sounds like fun. So yay. And Evelyn is still chipping away at red pen edits. I'm proofreading. That's not what I'm going to be working on today, but I will be doing my pink pen edits on my iPad later this afternoon. I am using this stream to get me to work on the cover. I am getting very, very close. I had a very productive day on Monday, and I did vlog Monday, so you'll see that. That's what's coming on Wednesday. Yes, what I vlogged on Monday is coming next Wednesday. I had to remind myself what day it is. It's Thursday. So for next week, Monday's vlog is a very cozy, casual rest day. Reading, relaxing, doing absolutely nothing, taking the day completely off and talking about why rest is important. And then next Wednesday's vlog will be a super productive day in my life as I am gradually adjusting back to being a full-time author and content creator, and part-time teacher. Still have some teaching work to do over the summer, but not nearly as much. And yes, Avi, I have turned on the neon sign just for the live stream. So thank you again for that lovely gift. But yeah, I'm very excited. So I'm working on the cover sketch. The cover sketch is now in bits. I will be doing a video, hopefully timed with the cover reveal video for this next book. So I will be talking in detail about my process soon, but roughly, just so that you all have some context, I always do the cover sketch is one illustration with all the different elements on the page, all on one. I think I use like a 9x12 notebook or something. And then when it's time to start moving it towards putting it in Photoshop, I trace out with my handy dandy light board. I trace out each of those individual elements onto their own piece of paper. So now I'm working with that, with each of the elements on its own piece of paper, which lets me kind of work with it slightly bigger. And then I will put it into Photoshop and finish it up. So the goal for this week, as people who who are part of our general productivity group on Patreon, the goal for this week is to have the cover sketch fully illustrated in the final line sketch of black ink and scanned and imported into Photoshop, so that starting Monday, I can be doing all the coloring in and final digital details. So I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm doing pretty well given that it's still Thursday. So thank you. I need all of the encouragement. I want to get this done so badly. And it's a little wild to think that according to my schedule on Scrivener, we are aiming to upload this book, interior, cover, everything, a week from today. We'll see if that ends up happening. Not sure if it's your upcoming trip, but it's nice to see you so happy. Last year, I know you were a bit sad and dealing with the heat. Yes, I probably need to put the blackout curtains up because it is getting warm. Although it's technically cooling down this week. We got up into the triple digits a few days ago, like the last few days. Now we're going back down into the 90s. But that's still summer weather where most of you all live. So it's still hot. So I probably need to put up the blackout curtains and just activate super cozy office mode for the summer. But I'm hanging on to the natural light for as long as I possibly can. But I think, Avi, it's a combination of the trip and knowing this book is almost done. As Evelyn says, I am definitely in the home stretch, as well as knowing I'm on summer break. Like I'm on break. I don't have to think about stepping foot inside a classroom for like over 3 months, just over 3 months. That is always a very good feeling. And yes, this is what I meant when I said I'm going to do a future video on this. I am going to do a step-by-step guide on, well, I don't know if guide is the best word, but I'm going to do a step-by-step video on how exactly I do my cover design. I don't think my process is one to emulate. There are probably much better ways to do it, but I will show you all how I do it, either after I have done the book, or like if I have to, I'll do it after the trip, after the book is out. But ideally, I'd love to time it with the cover reveal, so you can kind of see the full process and then the reveal. So we'll see. Okay, shall we get into our first sprint? Because we've been chatting for 10 minutes and I am totally, what's it called? When I'm vlogging, I call it procrasti-vlogging. Am I procrasti-streaming? Is that the word we need? I'm using the chat to procrastinate on cover sketching. So I've got my coffee. If you haven't gotten yourself a treat, please go do that before you get down to work, and let me get the timer going. I thought I shared this. I did share this. Why did it not share? Get our timer up. Share. Add to stage. Make me little. And get us started. And I will make sure that I actually mute myself this time and use my headphones. Okay, how do we do? Let me know in the chat. We've had some people join us. Welcome, Meredith. Welcome, Danielle. Oh, and Sarka's here. Welcome. Yay. Okay, Anne had a good sprint. That's fantastic. Charmed Venus, we got 210 words of a new scene. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I got my final pencil sketch of Carly done for the cover, the main character for the cover. She still needs a face. Why are faces and hands? Faces and hands are just impossible. And now I am starting to, I've got almost one full element traced in black ink. So that's exciting. Miss Taylor Ann got through about 2 chapters of line edits. Only 6 more to go for the day. 8 in one day. Oh, did I do that when I was on line edits? I think 6 might have been my maximum for line editing. And I think yesterday I did 5 chapters for proofreading, but that was a bit excessive, especially because one of the chapters was an epically long one. So today I'm planning on only doing like 4. I did not think it would be a good sprint, but the words just flowed. Sometimes that happens. Welcome. I'm glad you could join the stream live. I'm trying to switch up the times. So Avi, working on client work and got halfway done so far. That 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. stretch is so hard to stay awake. I mean, honestly, all day has been hard for me to stay awake, but I feel you. I'm trying to get this book done in a week, and I'm so close to being done. Same. I'm trying to upload this book by a week from today. And I still need a cover, and I still need to finish proofreading. And it's a race to see which one I'm going to finish first. It's probably going to be the proofreading that I finish first. And then, yeah. And then I'll finally be able to finish up the cover. I forgot there was a question I wanted to answer earlier. Juanita's Creative Corner asked, is your business writing class geared towards creative writers' careers or business plans and other non-creative writing? So I teach for the university. I'm in just the standard writing programs. I don't teach creative writing. So the business writing class that I teach is actually entirely made up of students from the School of Business at the university. They have to be a declared major in the School of Business in order to enroll. They also have to have already done the first year composition courses, either 101 and 102 or 105, which is the advanced first year comp. So they have to, basically the class looks at, we do short correspondence like emails and business letters. They do career documents, so resume and application letter. And then in the past, we've been doing a report utilizing primary research and a proposal utilizing the primary research from the report and secondary research. But the curriculum and assignment sequence is changing for the fall. So I'm still figuring out what all of that is going to be. So yeah. So it's not for creative writers. It's not anything related to my work. It's all just standard writing courses for the university. I'm not yet done with the new scene. You'll get there. What are your tips for working up courage to share your writing? Find people you can trust. I think that's, let me pause our find people you can trust, because that's the most important thing. And find people who you can trust will give you feedback, will give you honest feedback, but will do it in a kind way that basically you want to find people to read your writing who want you to succeed. And so they're going to want to encourage you, but they're not going to just tell you everything is fantastic when there are legitimate things. So, and I think as far as working up the courage, like once you identify people you know you can trust, just have the courage. Sharing your writing, unless you don't ever plan on publishing, and that's valid, you can write just for yourself. But if you ever want to publish, you're going to have to share it with people. And excuse me. And so just working on building up that courage and trusting that it's not perfect. They're going to have something to say about it, but that's what you want. I think that's the thing. We're so used to feeling like, oh, I don't want anyone to tell me what's wrong with this. But in writing, we do want people to tell us what's wrong with it. We hopefully want them to also tell us what's good about it. And so that's usually the guidance I give people is tell me what you love. This is what I tell my students as well as far as my teaching. I tell my students, tell me what you love about my teaching. What are the things that are making you recommend me to your friends and to other classmates to take my class? Like, what are the things that I did really, really well this semester? But also, what are the things that I can improve on? Because I know I'm not perfect. I know I can always do better. So it's the same thing with writing. Tell your reader, let me know what are the things that I did really well, but then also what are the things that you think I could improve on, because nothing is perfect. Even this nearly finished final draft is not perfect. Nothing I publish is ever perfect. It's just reached a point where I have done everything I can possibly do at this stage in my writing and it's done. So this is an excellent question. I'm going to mark this and we will come back to this on the next stream. So let me start this on my end and get the timer going because I need to work. But I think this is a really excellent question and probably something I should do a whole video on, but we'll start working through my ideas on the next break. So start our timer and mute myself. Happy writing, everyone. Okay, how did that go? We've got some new friends who've joined us. Lottie is here, hand stitching some patches. That sounds like fun. Emma Bennett has joined us. That's very exciting. Always good to see Emma Bennett in the chat. And then we had some questions, I think, too. But Kelly has joined us. My first live stream. Welcome. I saw your IG story and got excited to join. I didn't give you all very much notice this time. I'm sorry. Working on research data collection for my grant project. Ooh, good luck. Good luck. Okay. And then we had some questions. So Charmed Venus asked, do you think there are aspects of writing worth going to school for, or could I teach myself everything with outside resources? I think you can teach yourself a lot. I mean, everything I know about creative writing is self-taught. My PhD is in English, but it was an academic rhetoric and writing degree. So the writing aspect is more to do with theories of writing and theories of teaching writing and how to teach writing. It's not creative writing. So I have no creative writing education experience, if I'm making sense. And I feel like I've learned a lot, largely through reading. My first novel that I ever wrote, I mean, that was mostly just things that I like. The way I knew how to write it at the time was through things I'd internalized from all the books that I'd read over the years and what I'd learned about story structure from my theater degree. So I think there's a lot you can teach yourself between reading widely across multiple genres, YouTube videos. Don't take any one person's advice as like hard and fast rules, but like learn from a lot of different people and you'll see what advice kind of comes up from everyone and where people kind of do their own thing, and that's really useful. But I do think that there are value, maybe not so much, there is value, maybe not so much in getting a creative writing degree, like a full degree from a university in creative writing, but certainly in going and taking classes from your local library if they offer them, from your community center if they offer any, doing things like, I've not tried the master classes. There's the company called Masterclass. There's also companies like Skillshare. I think they've got a bunch of creative writing videos. So not sponsored. I'm currently a paying customer of Skillshare. I never remember to go in and do any of the lessons, but it is a good website from what I've experienced. And I think they've got a bunch of courses on creative writing. And so like for the cost of 1 year of membership, you could probably take a ton of courses. Some of the universities will do continuing education programs in creative writing. So there's one at Oxford University that I really want to do. They run it in the summer, and I just think that would be so much fun one of these years. Other courses, I know like here in Arizona, at Arizona State University, the Piper's Writing House is our creative writing center on campus, and they're going to be doing summer events throughout the whole summer for anyone in the community. I know that Tempe Public Library, I think, also has, they do a writer in residence program, and whoever the writer in residence is does bi-monthly workshops and things. So there's a lot of ways that you can learn about creative writing, both informally on your own and more formally, either for free or for a low price, a low cost, before you'd even need to think about going to school and getting a whole degree for. I would honestly probably start with all of the free and low cost things before I would consider going to school and getting a degree, particularly because most BFA and MFA programs I know in creative writing have a strong literary fiction focus. So if lit fic is your thing, then that probably would be a good thing, a good kind of program to go through. But if you're more interested in genre fiction, I think there's a lot more you can learn online than through an official program. So I hope that helps. I can see I've got a bunch of messages, but I want to answer this next question here. Everyone knows it's Lindy. Question: I am nearing the 20,000 word mark of what should be 90,000 words for my genre, and I feel absolutely buried in a mess. Does it get better? I feel so lost and like I will never get this done. It does get better. It does. The mess is part of the process. It's normal. It is to be expected. The more books you write, the more you kind of know that once you get around 20 to 30,000 words, you're getting past most writers from who I've talked to and what I know and what I've experienced. I feel like we tend to know what our opening, what our like stasis is, and what our inciting incident is going to be. And so it's after we get past the inciting incident is when the wheels start to wobble on the wagon. And around the 20 to 30,000 word mark is about where it feels like the wheels are coming off the wagon and you just don't know what you're doing anymore. But you might also know what the end of it's going to be. So what the climax and resolution that you're writing toward is going to be. No matter how much I outline my books, the middle bit from like in a 90,000 word book, that middle bit from like 20,000 to 70,000, even with an outline, I feel like I am finding my way in the dark. So it's normal. It does get better. Just keep going. Let me see what chats I have missed. Okay. Taylor got another chapters done. Woohoo! Cheering you with my iced coffee. Debbie is working on inking a comic page. That's amazing. Lenny Flowers, on my last page, editing chapter 25. I will finish this tonight. Yay! That's fantastic. It's Lottie says sewing patches is tedious. It is. I do not miss. I never really had to do patches, but I've done hand beading. I've done having to stitch on buttons and snaps and hooks and eyes, and it's not fun. And yeah, you probably do need a thimble like the one I have from the Jorvik Viking Center. A good thimble is really, really helpful. Lainey Wrights is here. Yay. Free Shadow, making inspiration page for my novel. Love it. Andrea pop-ups are my favorite kind of surprise. I'm glad you guys enjoy them. I'm slowly working through a module for the history of witch hunts in Scotland Court. I want to take that course. That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh. Michelle's Cozy Corner. On my way back, bringing my daughter home from her first year of college. So I'm traveling right now. Safe travels. And that's so excited. So exciting. Done with her first year. I buy and read every craft book. I buy and read a craft book after every draft I finish, and I often wonder if it's enough, and this makes me feel a little better. Good. It's a constant learning process. I tell my students this all the time, because, especially my business writing students, because it's the last writing class they're going to be required to take. And I always tell them, like, you are not going to be forced to take another writing class, but you are not done learning. I have been writing academically and professionally, and creatively, like often, like all these different types of writing. I have been writing in one capacity or another for over 2 decades. I'm still learning things with everything I write. So it's an ongoing journey. I would love to hire a cover designer and work with an artist, someone who is better than I am. Like, I'm okay, but I would like to work with someone better. It's just a matter of cost. And also, the one benefit of doing it myself is if I need to make any changes, if the series ends up going on longer than I anticipate, like I don't have to worry about the cover designer no longer being available or something. So there's pros and cons to either doing it yourself or to working on or hiring or outsourcing. And Kat also wants to take, also sounds likes the sound of that witch hunt course. The reason why I want to take it is because I'm also working on a contemporary urban fantasy about witches, and I want to bring in some of the witch hunt stuff. Okay, I'm going to save Avi's question. She's asked a really fun question. I'm going to save that for our next break. So I'm going to star it. And I think I'm caught up on the chat. So let's have me stop talking. And let's do one more sprint. So start that. Move this back. Put that banner on and mute myself. Have fun. Okay. How did that go? While we were on break, Ezra said, finally almost finished with the first draft of a novel I had the idea for in 2020. It's taken a while, but I'm almost there. 72K out of 80K target. Congratulations. That's so excited or so exciting. I can't speak anymore. And then Avi, before the break, asked, in honor of The Book Witch, which is a book I featured in my most recent vlog, if you could enter any book world, which would it be, and what fictional hero would you be in love with? That is such a good question. And that's an easy question. I would escape into Across the Pond. And I would probably choose book one and Patrick. I think that's my answer. Although any of the Across the Pond heroes would be great. I'd also love to be Catherine in Bookshop of Possibilities. But yeah, I think if I'm not allowed to pick my books, I feel like I should answer that as well. If I'm not allowed to pick my books, what book would I escape into? I don't know. Discovery of Witches, maybe? I mean, I'm assuming I would have to become one of the characters because, like, Matthew is only ever going to go for Diana in Discovery of Witches. So I would, if I wanted to have Matthew fall in love with me, I would have to be Diana. But yeah, oh, that's such a good question, Avi. Brigitte got 730 words. That's awesome. How about Mr. Darcy? I mean, if we're going Jane Austen, probably not Mr. Darcy. Probably Captain Wentworth in Persuasion. I think that's what I would choose. And yeah, I'm going to stick with Persuasion, I think. So excited to make a live for the first time. Welcome. I'm currently priming some canvases, although I also write and probably should be doing that. You know, I need to be proofreading, but I also need to be cover sketching. So that's what I've been doing. Cover sketch update. It's going well. I need to make sure my fingers aren't covered with ink before I start like, wiping at my eyes. So yeah, cover sketching is going well. I think I'm done for the day. I have I've got 3 things I need to trace in black ink. So I think I will get those done tomorrow, but my back is getting tired. And I don't know that I can keep bending over my desk to sketch. So I think we'll just chat for a little bit and end the stream in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I will try to stream again in the next few days. I wanted to do at least 2 this week. So we'll either do today and tomorrow, or I'll try to do it over the weekend, stream at least once. So yeah, but I don't know. Cover is going well, like looking at the elements. I keep having to remind myself that like the wonky lines and stuff aren't going to be as noticeable once I shrink it down to fit on a 6x9 cover. So like they look really noticeably wonky to me, but they're not actually going to look like that. Like I'm hoping they'll end up just having a very kind of loose and expressive feel. I'm really trying not to be a perfectionist with all of this because that will just do my head in, and this just needs to be done. I'm going to stop the timer because we're done for the day. Avi literally was typing in Discovery Witches, if Patrick from across the pond were a vampire or a Viking. Yeah, that would work. Lottie, the cat and dog are holding me down so I can't write anything. Hate when that happens. Absolutely hate it. Kiki tries to hold me down a lot. She does not like when my laptop is in my lap. When do I leave for the UK? I leave the first week of June, so less than a month. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking about the trip because I'm trying not to panic about the book. The book is what I am focusing on. I'm not even thinking about my trip, like very little. I do have, and I think you catch a glimpse of it in the next vlog, I do have my little mini travel, like not travel rack, but my little mini rolling rack, clothing rack. I do have that set up in my bedroom, and I have started to put some of the new dresses and things like that I'm getting for the trip and other items I'm buying for the trip, things that I want to make sure I don't forget to pack. They're all like being organized around that rack. That's the extent to which I am like preparing for packing at this point. I can't think about it right now. One, I've got other things I have to think about, like the book. Two, if I think about it too much, I get really, really anxious. So I really don't know what I'm going to do when it is time to actually think about the trip and getting on the plane. I'm so excited to be there. Like, I'm so excited to be in England. I'm really nervous about the traveling itself. But yeah, it's going to be here before we know it. Philippa asked, do you read Jane Austen books? I do. I haven't read all of them. I think I've only read half of them. I still haven't read Emma, Mansfield Park, or Northanger Abbey. But I have read Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, and Pride and Prejudice. So, yeah. Kiki sounds like my 2-year-old niece. She lives in my lap and gives my laptop the stink eye. That is exactly Kiki. She is not happy if I've got my laptop or my iPad. Like, my lap has to be completely free for her to take over. Thanks for joining, Evelyn. Glad to have, I can't speak anymore. Thanks for joining. It was so much fun to have you here. I really do need to stop streaming. Honestly, I did not feel like streaming. I will be honest. I wanted to yesterday, and then I woke up and was like yesterday I was thinking you should stream today, Thursday, and then I woke up and I was so tired, and then I went for I worked out this morning, and I think I pushed myself a little bit too hard, and so I am just wrecked. So I was thinking streaming from 11 to about 1 my time, so it's almost 1. Then I can go lay down and rest for an hour and a half or so, and then still have time to do some proofreading. And thankfully, I did cook dinner last night, so I've got leftovers for that. I assume you mean plane. I haven't been on a plane for more than 4 hours. Can't imagine how long it would be to get to the UK. Yeah, it's a long flight from Phoenix. It's 10 and a half hours. I think it's 10 hours one direction and 10 and a half coming the other. 10 to 11, depending on winds and all of that stuff. Sometimes it can make, if you've got a good tailwind, you can go a little bit faster. I'm a Brit living in the US. I'm so excited you're going to Old Blighty. Jealous for sure, but so happy for you. I am so excited to be there. Like, for all of the anxiety about the travel itself, I am so excited to be there. I miss the days when I went like almost every year. So like having it be 2 years since my last trip, like going 5 years because of the pandemic, 4.5, 5 years because of the pandemic. I just like, the desire to be in England just kind of went dormant. I didn't let myself think about it. And now that I've been, when Mom and I went 2 years ago, ever since we got back, it's just been, when can I go back? When can I go back? When can I go back? So I am just so excited that I'm finally going back. Like, it's time. I'm ready. I'm not ready for the travel. I'm not ready to fly by myself. I'm legitimately nervous about that. Like, those of you who know, who've been following for a while, I do have fairly severe travel anxiety in general and flying anxiety more specifically. Like, I struggle with both. I don't really like airports and navigating train stations and all of that stuff. I get nervous about going through baggage claim and all of those things like that. But then also just the act of flying makes me incredibly nervous. It's just getting worse and worse as I get older. So yeah, but I can't wait to be there. I hope England misses me. I miss England. Can you share a bit about budgeting for a trip like that? I love that you think I actually budget. I honestly, for this trip, I saved up as much money as I could. I had a ballpark number for how much I thought, like, the hotels and airfare would cost. I'd looked those up and kind of knew roughly what I needed to save up for. And so I just saved up a ton of money and bought my tickets and booked my hotels. And now I have a lot less money left. I'm still saving. I'm not good at budgeting. I'm not good at budgeting for a trip like this. I definitely went over my budget for the hotels and a little over the budget for the flights. And so it's a guessing game for me. I have no tips. I am not someone to talk to about budgeting. When it comes to saving, everything I've earned from YouTube, everything I've earned from Patreon, everything I've earned from my books has gone straight into savings. I live off of my full-time salary. So anything extra, a tax refund, I get 2 extra paychecks every year because there's just 3 paydays in a month, 2 months out of the year. So those go straight into savings. If I have an exceptionally good month on YouTube or something. So like November and December last year were really good on YouTube. Really, really good on YouTube. Thanks to that viral video. Not quit your job money, but London, England fund money. So every time I can save something, I put it into savings. And then I try to spend as little as possible and save as much as possible from my just monthly expenses so that I can also try to put some of my full-time salary towards savings. But that's really hard because, as Juanita says, prices are so high for everything now. And so it can be difficult to stick to my regular monthly budget. Often after I take out rent, student loans, electricity, my internet bill, all the various subscriptions like Netflix, my website hosting, Epidemic Sound for the music, for the vlogs. Like, once I go through all of my kind of fixed expenses and then things like gas for my car or groceries, there's typically not that much left from my full-time salary. So it really is, it's been 2 years of saving up book royalties, YouTube royalties, and then early last year, about a year ago, actually this month, I think, I started Patreon. And so it's been just slowly putting all of that into savings. I can't wait to take you all with me to England again. I miss living vicariously through you going to England. I can't wait to share it with you all. I really do feel like it's all of us going to England together. And yeah, the money issue is what's holding me back from the most from traveling more, especially countries that are more expensive like the UK, but we want to go someday. It's expensive, and like it's expensive, and it's just me. If I had a family, like, yeah, you can share a hotel room. So like mom and I, when we went together, we shared a hotel room. So split two ways, that actually makes it a little bit easier per person. But then like you're still having to pay for all those flights and stuff. And so as a family, budgeting, family traveling is really hard. The only reason my family was able to do so much traveling when I was a kid was because we were living in Germany with the US Army, and so we could drive everywhere. We didn't really travel anywhere other than where we could drive. Like I don't remember ever flying for a vacation. The only time we flew was to come back to the US. So for traveling, as a kid, it was just packing up our Volkswagen van and seeing where we could drive. So it was often places that were like not far from where we lived in Germany. Like I know we did Switzerland and Austria, and we did France, like northern France. And our biggest trip was driving from Germany to England, Germany to France to Boulogne, got the ferry from Boulogne over to Dover, and then drove around England, Scotland, and Wales, and then back out to Germany. So traveling is hard. Traveling is so wonderful, but it's so expensive. And it just gets more and more expensive every year. So Stars says budgeting is hard. I'm lucky all my family lives there, so no hotels needed, but travel expenses alone. Yeah, like the only reason I can afford to spend, I'm spending about 5 weeks there this summer. The only reason I can afford to spend that much time there is because I'm spending 3 of those weeks staying with my friend Tamsin. So it kind of worked. Like, of course, Tamsin lives in Leeds, which I think hotels in Leeds probably would be a lot more affordable than hotels in London or Oxford, which is where I've had to get the hotels. But yeah, it's just, I'm only getting hotels for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, just about 2.5 weeks. I would not be able to afford it if I was doing hotels for the entire time. So that's another thing. When you have friends that you can stay with, that makes a huge difference. And that's a huge reason why I've been able to travel so much over all the years. About half of my visits to England, almost half, I was staying with friends for part or all of that trip. So we went to Austria. We did do a Sound of Music tour. I've seen the cemetery where they filmed part of the escape scene at the end. But we did not go like up into the hills, so there was no spinning around singing as a 6 or 7-year-old, I think I was on that trip, that the hills are alive. But Sound of Music is, I think, my mom's favorite movie. So that was something she really wanted to go to Austria and see some of the Sound of Music stuff. Yeah, Avi, hopefully the books will start selling. Hopefully we have a good launch for book 5. I will say I've been very happy to see that books 1 through 4 have been selling so far this month and last month and the month before. It always makes me so excited when I see books 2, 3, and 4 in any of the series sell, because it means they got through book 1, assuming that they're reading in order and not just skipping around, which you can skip around. You can, for the Across the Pond series, you can dive straight into book 5. You could start with book 4, or you could start with book 1. But if you want to read books 1 before you read 2 and 3, if that makes sense. So for the Across the Pond series, books 1 through 3 kind of form a trilogy and should be read in that order. But So like, don't just skip straight into books 2 or book 3, but you can skip into book 4. Or you can just wait and start with book 5 and then go back to the others. So yeah, but I've been doing a lot of little happy dances each day as I see if books have sold. And yeah, seeing so much movement for the Across the Pond series makes me very, very happy. So, and also page reads, getting a good amount of page reads for Across the Pond as well. So that's very exciting. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wind down this chat and this stream. I'm very sleepy. I need to go rest before I can do any proofreading, and I do have to do some proofreading today. Let me look at my planner. What was on the schedule for today? I can cross off cover sketch. Ooh, I wanted to do some work on the book description and the book tagline. I might have to move those 2 tomorrow. But I do want to at least do the proofreading for today. So I want to try to get at least 3 or 4 chapters done for proofreading. But proofreading update, my goal was to get 12 chapters done by Sunday. I am through the first 9. So I'll do chapter 10 today. So I am ahead on that. But on that note, I'm going to do as Avi tells me. I'm going to enjoy my rest. I'm going to get some proofreading done and then enjoy my leftovers for dinner. But I will try to do another stream sometime in the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So keep an eye on the community page on YouTube, as well as on my Instagram stories and on the main feed of Patreon. If you are a member at either the free tier or the paid tier, I put it on for everyone when I'm going to be streaming. So you can keep an eye there to find out when I'm streaming next. Please give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed streaming with me today. Subscribe if you're not subscribed so you can hang out with us for more streams. And so you can follow along on all the writing and England adventures this summer. Links to all of my things, my newsletter, my Patreon, and all of my published novels are in the description box below for you to check those out if you are so inclined. I would really appreciate it. And I think that's it. Replay crew, thanks for watching. I love you. And thanks for all of you who have joined me live. This has been so much fun. And yeah, I will see you all very soon in another vlog or another stream, whichever comes first. But I will see you then, and thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.